Welcome to the Neuro Air podcast, the show for cycle breakers, parents, young adults, and helping professionals ready to understand their nervous system through a generational lens, heal what isn't theirs to carry, and consciously choose what comes next. Hi, I'm your host, Leanna Hunt, an associate clinical mental health counselor and certified performance coach. Each week, you'll get stories, science, and somatic practices, plus my signature 4N framework: notice, name, nurture, and navigate, to help you honor resilience, break silence, and build deeper connection with yourself and those you love, all while shaping a legacy of safety, freedom, and possibility. Welcome back to the Neuro Air podcast. Guys, I cannot believe it's December. This year has just felt so fast and has literally flown by. If you're anything like me, your tree is up and you've got Christmas music on repeat, and maybe you've even been listening for the last month, and that's okay. It truly is such a beautiful time of year, but as a parent, it can also be a stressful one. My wedding anniversary is on December 18th, and my girls' birthdays are on Christmas Day and the 29th. So December has always been a mix of so much joy, but also chaos for me. And now that my youngest is almost 13 and my son's a senior and both my girls are grown, this season feels different. I think I've realized too that the hardest part of my work right now isn't what I thought it would be. It's actually realizing how much I've changed since I was a young mom, and how often I still wish I could go back and have a do-over. But here's what I also know. I also know that all those years, including the messy ones, the overwhelmed ones, the trying to keep it all together ones, all of those have brought me to where I am today. I now get to show up as the woman I once needed, the mother I didn't know how to become. And that's the gift of repair that I'm giving myself this year. And it's the invitation I want to extend to all of you to pause and reflect on how far you've come. And even if you want to pause the episode right now to just enjoy that moment of reflection, please do so and come back when you're ready. Even if you still feel like you don't know enough or haven't healed enough, I hope that for a few minutes today, you can notice the places where you have grown, where you have learned, and where your nervous system now carries more skill and softness than it once did. So today's episode is about legacy repair inside our own homes, what it means to parent the nervous system, our children's and our own, with honesty, compassion, and curiosity, especially during this busy season. But before we talk about repair, we have to talk about awareness, because repair starts with what we notice, which is the first N. Neuroscience shows that a child's body is constantly scanning for cues of safety or threat. Dr. Porges calls this neuroception, which is the body's subconscious way of detecting whether it's safe or in danger. That means your nervous system really matters in relationship to your children, especially when you're feeling big emotions yourself. Sometimes our kids know we're off before we actually do. So here's an invitation. Start to notice how you respond when your children check in about your own mood. One of the most common patterns I see in my clinical work and what I saw in myself growing up is the incongruence of saying I'm fine when we're not. Because of neuroception and co-regulation, our children's bodies can already feel when something's off. Their systems are attuning not just to words, but to our tone, our facial expression, and even our breath. When they sense that mismatch, such as a tense voice, but it's accompanied with words like I'm fine, their bodies often translate that as self-blame. If mom's upset and says she's not, maybe I'm the problem. Meaning can get stored in the body through energy and experience, not logic. So one of the most loving things that we can do is use age-appropriate honesty. You don't have to overshare with a 5-year-old. You can simply say something like, Mom's having a hard day, but I'm taking a few deep breaths, and I want you to know that we're safe. That one small sentence restores congruence. Your body and your words finally match, and that helps their body feel safe again. Here are a few other examples that you can try. I'm frustrated, but I'm working through it. I'm really tired right now. Let's talk after I rest outside for a minute. Mom's feeling a little anxious, so I'm going to take a few deep breaths. Do you want to do that with me? Each of these examples tell the truth without oversharing and teaches emotional honesty. And as we begin to model that kind of honesty, something subtle shifts, not just in them, but in us. We start realizing that emotional clarity creates safety. It not only helps our kids regulate, but it also helps our own body learn to find calm. That brings me to another habit many of us grew up with, one that often gets in the way of connection. Most of us heard some version growing up of "because I said so." And although I truly believe that that came from love and probably often a lot of exhaustion, that research, attachment, and affect regulation actually shows that when children understand why a boundary exists, their nervous system processes it as safety instead of control. Even a brief explanation can help our kids, especially when we're really tired, really stressed, or super frustrated. It's as simple as, "I know you're disappointed, but it's late and your body needs rest." That single moment of reasoning creates both structure and connection. These micro moments strengthen what Dr. Siegel calls integration, which is linking the emotional right brain with the logical left. That integration helps a child move from reactivity to reflection. So yes, "because I said so" might be easier in the moment, but explanations help the nervous system feel respected, and that's how secure attachment is built. And I truly believe those brief explanations also foster our children's own intuition. Throughout life, they'll have to assess safety and make decisions on their own. So when we start to model reasoning and curiosity, we help them develop those internal skills for themselves. And when we explain the why, something else happens. Our own nervous system can start to feel softer. It moves us from control into connection, and that opens the door to the inner world we're about to talk about. Because sometimes what's happening between parent and child isn't just about the present moment. It's about what's being activated inside all of us, the younger parts of ourselves that are still longing for repair. One of the most humbling truths that I've learned is that the version of us that shows up to parent is often a part that didn't get repair ourselves. Parts work is a huge component of my practice. And I learned about parts work even before I went into clinical therapy work. I've worked with coaches from all over the world in my own journey the last 15 years. And I was able to see how each coach has their own version of working with parts, which for me is a combination of their own experiences, their culture, where they grew up, and maybe their own practices throughout their family. So as we think about parts and your parts, maybe it's a part of you that was told to be quiet. Maybe it's a part that had to grow up too fast. Maybe it's the part that learned to please or perform to stay safe. In internal family systems, which you'll hear me refer later on as IFS, Dr. Schwartz calls these protective parts. They're aspects of us that carry burdens from earlier experiences. When we parent from these places, our reactions aren't about the present moment. They're about old stories surfacing in new situations. And those protective parts can be generational too. So we often do what was modeled for us. Our parents' protective parts may have become ours. These parts actually don't need our judgment, but they do need our compassion. When we use the 4 N's, notice, name, nurture, and navigate, we're not just practicing mindfulness. We're tending to those younger selves that never had someone to co-regulate with them. We're saying, "I see you. You were doing the best you could to survive. And now we can learn something new together." That inner repair becomes outer repair. And since we're in the middle of one of the busiest times of year, full of noise, pressure, and endless to-do lists, this is exactly when our nervous system needs these tools the most. Let's look at how you can use the 4 N's practically in your family this season. Again, we know this season can push our systems to the edge. I'm sure you felt it, especially with schedules, checklists, and maybe expectations of what you feel like Christmas or the other holidays should be like. Using the 4 N's isn't just about parenting better, though. It's about protecting your own window of safety so you can actually enjoy the moments you've worked so hard to create. So number 1, again, is notice. Practice catching early body signals before a reaction takes over. And say to yourself or out loud, "Oh, my jaw is feeling really tight. My chest feels hot." That awareness is what starts to interrupt autopilot. Number 2 is name. Give language to the pattern. This is my fight energy, or this is the part of me that feels powerless. Siegel calls this name it to tame it. Labeling emotions reduces limbic activity. Number 3 is nurture. Offer your system a cue of safety, such as some deep breaths, a gentle touch, or a super soft tone. Even saying, "I'm here, we're okay," activates the ventral vagal network that calms both parent and child. And number 4 is navigate. When you're calm enough, choose your next action, such as repair, rephrase, or reconnect. And it can be as simple as, "Hey, I didn't like how I said that earlier. I'm sorry. Can we please try again?" These micro repairs, as Edward Tronick's research shows, are what strengthen attachment. Not constant harmony, but successful recovery. And when we start to repair like this, even in the smallest ways, we're not just changing our day. We're actually changing what safety feels like in our family line. And again, that's the heart of what I call legacy repair. Legacy repair doesn't mean our parents failed us. It means we now understand what they couldn't because they didn't have the tools or language to do so. Dr. Feldman found that parent-child physiological synchrony, including our heartbeat, our breath, our tone, and even our gaze, when those things align, that all builds a child's internal model for safety. So every time we slow down, every time we take intentional deep breaths, every time we repair, we reshape that template. And many of the symptoms we face as adults, including our anxiety, our shame, and depression, are often unintegrated parts of us still trying to process what we couldn't name years ago. When we offer those parts understanding, we reestablish safety for ourselves and for our children. And again, this isn't about blame, but it is about choice. We can't rewrite the past, but we can reshape what safety feels like in our lineage. So before I wrap up, I want to give you a simple way to bring this into your body, a short co-regulation practice you can share with your kids or just even your own inner child. So if it feels safe for you right now, I just want to invite you to soften your gaze or close your eyes, place a hand on your chest, and take a slow breath in. And remember, as we breathe properly, we want to do so through the diaphragm. So as you breathe in, you want to expand that diaphragm outward. Hold at the top for a moment, and then take an even longer breath out through the nose or the mouth. And if you need more than just one, go ahead and pause and do as many as you need and come back. And when you're ready, now imagine your younger self standing beside you, the version of you that once felt unseen or unheard. Offer her the same words that you would say to your own child. "I see you and I love you. You're safe now. You don't have to carry it alone anymore because I'm here with you." Picture your younger self taking that same breath with you, and really notice to see if you can slow your heart rate, if you can feel more present in your body and connected to your younger self or to your actual child. That's co-regulation in action. 2 nervous systems learning safety in real time. Parenting the nervous system isn't about perfection, but it is about presence. It's learning to repair when we miss it and remembering that repair itself is the medicine. And maybe this season, presence looks a little simpler than it used to. Maybe it's sitting quietly at night with only your Christmas tree lights on, laying on the floor, letting yourself breathe for a few minutes before the next full day begins. Maybe it's putting your phone down while you make cookies with your kids, or drive around to look at Christmas lights with no agenda, except to notice how wonder fills in your own body and in the eyes of your children. Maybe it's wrapping a few extra gifts to drop off at a shelter, or turning on your favorite holiday song and actually listening, letting the words and your own stillness bring you back home to yourself. These small mindful moments are acts of nurture. They continue to soften your nervous system, expand your window of safety, and remind your body that connection with yourself, with your family, and with the world is still possible even in the busiest season of life. So as you move through December, I hope you take time to notice what your body needs, to name what feels meaningful, to nurture yourself through those gentle pauses, and navigate this season from a place of calm and compassion. Every choice you make towards presence, remember, is repair. It's what creates a new physiological inheritance for the generations that follow and for your own children today. If this conversation resonates and if you've enjoyed the conversations we've had so far, I'd love to have you join me in the NeuroAir coaching membership that's beginning February 2026, where we're going to practice all of these things integrated with the 4 N's together in real time. And there's going to be more details to follow soon. My message to all of you, may this month be full of noticing, naming, nurturing, and navigating with yourself, your younger parts, your children, and your family, from my family to yours. I hope you find moments of warmth, laughter, and rest beneath the glow of your own tree lights. Until next time. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining me on the NeuroAir podcast. This work is about honoring resilience in yourself and also those who came before you, all while finding freedom from what was never yours to carry. With the help of stories, science, somatic tools, and the 4 N's, notice, name, nurture, and navigate, you have a path toward deeper connection with yourself, your loved ones, and the legacy you want to pass on. If today's episode spoke to you, share it with someone who's ready to step into this work too, and follow the show so you never miss an episode. Remember, you may not have chosen what you inherited, but you can choose what comes next.